Atomic consistency. Small actions, extraordinary results. Introduction. Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a day and underestimate what they can accomplish in a decade. They dream of dramatic transformations. A perfect body. Financial freedom. A successful business. A best-selling book. Mastery of a valuable skill. Yet when results fail to appear quickly, discouragement follows. Motivation fades. Plans are abandoned. Goals are forgotten. The cycle repeats. The problem is not a lack of ambition. The problem is a misunderstanding of how meaningful change actually happens. Real transformation is rarely explosive. It is usually invisible at first. It grows quietly beneath the surface. Like a seed becoming a tree. Like a river carving through stone. Like a small investment becoming a fortune through compounding. Extraordinary results are often created by ordinary actions repeated consistently over time. This is the principle of atomic consistency. The word atomic refers to something extremely small, tiny, almost insignificant. Yet atoms are the building blocks of everything around us. Likewise, small daily actions are the building blocks of extraordinary lives. A single workout may not change your body. A single page may not change your knowledge. A single dollar may not change your finances. A single conversation may not change a relationship. But repeated consistently, these actions create powerful outcomes. This book is not about motivation. Motivation comes and goes. It is not about talent. Talent matters, but it is often overrated. It is not about luck. Luck influences outcomes, but it cannot be controlled. This book is about consistency. The force that quietly shapes destinies. The force that transforms average effort into remarkable achievement. The force that turns small actions into extraordinary results. Throughout these chapters, you will learn why consistency matters more than intensity, how habits compound over time, why systems outperform goals, and how tiny improvements can completely transform your future. You will discover that success is not a single event. It is a process. Not a breakthrough, but a build-up. Not a miracle, but a mechanism. The individuals who achieve the most are often not the smartest, strongest, or most talented. They are the ones who continue when others stop. The ones who understand that greatness is built one action at a time. One day at a time. One decision at a time. One habit at a time. That is the power of atomic consistency. And once you understand it, you will never view success the same way again. Chapter 1. The power of tiny actions. Every great achievement begins with something small. A towering oak tree begins as a seed. A massive river begins as a trickle of water. A skyscraper begins with a blueprint. A best-selling book begins with a single sentence. Yet most people ignore small beginnings. They focus on visible results. They admire the finished product. They celebrate the outcome. What they rarely appreciate is the process. The tiny actions. The repeated efforts. The seemingly insignificant decisions. The daily behaviors that quietly create extraordinary outcomes. This misunderstanding causes many people to abandon progress before results appear. They expect dramatic change. They want immediate evidence. When transformation remains invisible, they assume nothing is happening. But change is happening. It is simply happening beneath the surface. This chapter explores one of the most important principles in personal growth and achievement. Tiny actions matter far more than most people realize. In fact, they often determine the future. The myth of big changes. Modern culture loves dramatic stories. The entrepreneur who became a millionaire overnight. The athlete who suddenly became a champion. The artist who instantly became famous. The student who transformed their life in a single year. These stories are inspiring. They are also misleading. Because what appears sudden is usually the result of years of invisible effort. The entrepreneur spent years learning. The athlete spent years training. The artist spent years creating. The student spent years improving. The breakthrough became visible only after thousands of small actions accumulated. People see the explosion. They do not see the spark. They see the harvest. They do not see the planting. They see the success. They do not see the consistency. This creates unrealistic expectations. Many people begin a new habit expecting immediate rewards. When rewards fail to appear, they quit. They mistake delayed progress for no progress. That mistake can cost them years of growth. The invisible phase of growth. Imagine placing an ice cube on a table in a cold room. The temperature is 25 degrees. Nothing happens. You increase the temperature to 26 degrees. Nothing happens. 27 degrees. Nothing happens. 28, 29, 30, 31. Still nothing. Finally, at 32 degrees, the ice begins to melt. To an observer, it appears that the change happened suddenly. But did it? Of course not. Every degree mattered. Every increase contributed. The transformation became visible only when a critical threshold was reached. Personal growth follows the same pattern. People exercise for weeks without obvious physical changes. They save money for months without feeling wealthy. They study for years before becoming experts. The results remain invisible until enough progress accumulates. The danger is quitting during the invisible phase. Many people stop at 31 degrees. Success often belongs to those who continue until 32. Why small actions feel unimportant? The human brain is designed to seek immediate rewards. Immediate pleasure feels meaningful. Immediate results feel motivating. Unfortunately, many valuable actions produce delayed rewards. Reading 10 pages today may not make you noticeably smarter. Saving a small amount of money today may not make you richer. A short workout today may not transform your body. The immediate impact appears insignificant. As a result, people underestimate the value of these actions. They assume it won't make a difference. This assumption is dangerous, because small actions rarely matter once. They matter when repeated. The power lies in accumulation. A single raindrop means little. Millions of raindrops can carve valleys. A single action means little. Thousands of actions can transform a life. The compounding principle. Compounding is one of the most powerful forces in existence. Most people associate compounding with money. Investments grow. Interest accumulates. Wealth expands. But compounding applies to much more than finances. Knowledge compounds. Skills compound. Relationships compound. Health compounds. Confidence compounds. Character compounds. Every positive action creates a small benefit. That benefit creates another opportunity. The opportunities multiply. Growth accelerates. The process often begins slowly. Then momentum builds. Eventually, results appear dramatic. The secret is patience. Compounding rewards those who remain consistent long enough to experience its effects. Tiny actions create identity. Most people believe actions follow identity. They assume, I need to become confident before acting confidently. I need to become healthy before exercising. I need to become disciplined before building habits. The truth is often the opposite. Actions create identity. Every action sends a message to the brain. Every workout says, I am someone who values health. Every study session says, I am someone who learns. Every savings deposit says, I am someone who plans for the future. Every act of kindness says, I am someone who cares about others. Over time, these messages accumulate. Identity changes. The person begins to believe the evidence. Because identity is not formed by intentions. It is formed by repeated behavior. Tiny actions are powerful because they continuously shape who you become. The daily vote. Imagine that every action is a vote. Not a vote for what you want. A vote for who you are becoming. Every choice casts a ballot. Every decision strengthens a particular identity. Read one page. A vote for becoming a reader. Exercise for 10 minutes. A vote for becoming healthy. Write one paragraph. A vote for becoming a writer. Save a small amount of money. A vote for becoming financially responsible. No single vote determines the outcome. But repeated votes eventually decide the election. Identity emerges from accumulation. The person you become is shaped by thousands of small decisions, not a few dramatic moments. Why intensity often fails. People are naturally attracted to dramatic effort, extreme diets, aggressive workout plans, massive productivity challenges, intense study schedules. The excitement feels powerful. The results initially appear promising. Then reality arrives. Energy declines. Motivation fades. Consistency disappears. The system collapses. Intensity creates excitement. Consistency creates transformation. A person who studies 1 hour every day often learns more than someone who studies 10 hours once per week. A person who walks daily often becomes healthier than someone who exercises intensely for a month and then quits. Sustainable actions outperform unsustainable actions. The objective is not maximum effort. The objective is repeated effort. The plateau of progress. One of the greatest challenges in personal growth is the plateau. The period when effort continues but visible progress appears limited. Many people interpret this period incorrectly. They assume improvement has stopped. In reality, improvement may still be occurring. The results simply have not become visible yet. Imagine filling a bucket with water. Drop after drop enters the bucket. Nothing appears to change. Eventually, the water reaches the top. One final drop causes overflow. The overflow appears dramatic. The process was gradual. Progress often works the same way. The visible breakthrough is usually the result of invisible accumulation. Those who understand this remain patient. Those who do not often quit too soon. The success gap. There is often a gap between effort and reward. This gap frustrates many people. Actions occur immediately. Rewards arrive later. The brain dislikes this arrangement. It prefers immediate gratification. As a result, people often choose short-term pleasure over long-term benefit. Watching television feels rewarding immediately. Exercise feels rewarding later. Spending money feels rewarding immediately. Saving money feels rewarding later. The challenge is learning to value delayed rewards. Successful individuals often excel at this skill. They understand that today's actions create tomorrow's opportunities. They are willing to invest before receiving returns. That willingness creates enormous advantages over time. The ripple effect. Every action influences future actions. A single positive decision can create momentum. A workout may encourage healthier eating. Healthier eating may improve energy. Improved energy may increase productivity. Greater productivity may improve confidence. Confidence may encourage further action. The opposite pattern also exists. Negative choices can create negative momentum. This is why small actions matter. Their influence extends beyond the immediate moment. They create ripple effects. The consequences spread, often further than expected. The 1% principle. Imagine improving by only 1% each day. The change would seem insignificant, almost invisible. Yet over time, the improvement becomes extraordinary. The mathematics of compounding create remarkable outcomes. Small gains accumulate. Progress accelerates. The gap between improvement and stagnation widens. Most people ignore 1% improvements because they appear trivial. Successful people understand their value. Tiny improvements repeated consistently create major advantages. The goal is not perfection. The goal is slightly better. Repeated daily. For years. Building momentum. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in human behavior. Starting is often difficult. Continuing becomes easier. A stationary object requires effort to move. Once moving, momentum helps maintain motion. Habits operate similarly. The first workout is difficult. The 10th is easier. The first chapter is difficult. The 10th is easier. The first investment feels uncertain. The 100th feels normal. Tiny actions help create momentum. Momentum reduces resistance. Reduced resistance increases consistency. Consistency creates results. Results reinforce behavior. The cycle strengthens itself. The power of showing up. Many people focus on performance. A more important focus is attendance. Showing up consistently often matters more than performing perfectly. The writer who writes regularly improves. The athlete who trains regularly improves. The student who studies regularly improves. Perfection is unnecessary. Presence is essential. Showing up creates opportunities for growth. You cannot improve what you do not practice. You cannot achieve what you do not pursue. Success frequently belongs to those who continue appearing long after others stop. The long view. Most people evaluate progress daily. This creates frustration. Daily progress is often difficult to detect. A better perspective involves looking months and years ahead. What happens if you improve slightly every day for 5 years? 10 years? 20 years? The answer is extraordinary. Small actions become major transformations. Tiny habits become powerful identities. Modest improvements become significant advantages. Time magnifies consistency. This is why patience matters. The greatest rewards often belong to those willing to think long-term. Tiny actions, extraordinary results at first glance. Tiny actions appear insignificant. A page read. A dollar saved. A workout completed. A skill practiced. A conversation improved. The immediate impact seems small. But life is not shaped by isolated moments. It is shaped by repeated behaviors. The future is built one action at a time. Every small decision contributes. Every habit matters. Every effort counts. Not because of what it accomplishes today, because of what it becomes tomorrow. This is the essence of atomic consistency. The understanding that greatness is rarely created through dramatic action. It is created through tiny actions repeated with extraordinary consistency. The people who understand this principle gain a tremendous advantage. They stop chasing quick fixes. They stop searching for shortcuts. They stop expecting overnight success. Instead, they focus on the process. One action. One habit. One day at a time. And over time, those tiny actions create extraordinary results. Because the smallest actions, repeated consistently, often possess the greatest power of all. Chapter 2. Why consistency beats motivation. Motivation is exciting. It creates energy. It inspires action. It makes difficult goals feel achievable. When motivation is high, people feel unstoppable. They create plans. Set ambitious goals. Make promises. Imagine a person standing at the beginning of a new year. They feel inspired. This year will be different. They will exercise every day. Read more books. Save more money. Build a business. Learn a new skill. The future looks bright. The possibilities seem endless. Then life happens. Work becomes stressful. Unexpected challenges appear. Energy decreases. Responsibilities increase. The excitement fades. The motivation that felt so powerful begins to disappear. This is where many dreams end. Not because the goal was impossible. Not because the person lacked intelligence. Not because success was out of reach. But because they depended on motivation. Motivation is powerful. It is also temporary. Consistency is different. Consistency continues long after motivation leaves. And that is why consistency wins. The problem with motivation feels reliable when it is present. The problem is that it rarely remains present. Human emotions fluctuate. Some days you feel energetic. Other days you feel tired. Some mornings you wake up inspired. Other mornings you do not. If progress depends entirely on motivation, progress becomes unpredictable. Imagine a farmer planting crops only when motivated. Imagine an athlete training only when inspired. Imagine an author writing only when excited. Results would be inconsistent. Success requires more than occasional enthusiasm. It requires repeated action. Motivation may start the process. Consistency completes it. Motivation loves beginnings. Motivation is excellent at helping people begin. A powerful speech. An inspiring book. A life-changing event. A new opportunity. These experiences create emotional energy. The individual feels ready to change. New habits begin. Goals are established. Action starts. The challenge appears after the beginning. The excitement that created the action eventually fades. At that moment, only one question matters: will the behavior continue? For many people, the answer is no. The behavior depended on emotion. When the emotion disappeared, the action disappeared as well. Consistency solves this problem. It allows action to continue regardless of emotional state. The emotional roller coaster: most people live according to their emotions. If they feel good, they act. If they feel tired, they stop. If they feel inspired, they work. If they feel discouraged, they quit. This creates instability. Progress becomes unpredictable. Results become inconsistent. Life begins to resemble a roller coaster. Periods of intense effort are followed by periods of inactivity. The cycle repeats endlessly. Consistency creates stability. Action occurs regardless of mood, regardless of weather, regardless of circumstances. The process continues. The results accumulate. The difference between amateurs and professionals: one of the biggest differences between amateurs and professionals is consistency. Amateurs work when they feel like it. Professionals work according to a schedule. Amateurs depend on motivation. Professionals depend on systems. Consider a professional musician. They practice whether they feel inspired or not. A professional athlete trains whether they feel motivated or not. A professional writer writes whether ideas seem abundant or not. Why? Because they understand a critical truth. Success belongs to those who show up consistently. Not occasionally. Not when conditions are perfect. But repeatedly. Over long periods of time. Consistency creates trust. Imagine two friends. One keeps promises occasionally. The other keeps promises consistently. Which friend would you trust more? The answer is obvious. Trust emerges from consistency. The same principle applies to yourself. Every time you follow through on a commitment, trust increases. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, confidence grows. Over time, you begin to believe your own commitments. This creates self-respect. Self-respect creates confidence. Confidence strengthens consistency. The cycle becomes self-reinforcing. Why small efforts win? People often admire dramatic effort. A 10-hour work session. An extreme fitness challenge. A massive burst of productivity. These actions appear impressive. The problem is sustainability. Can they continue? Often, the answer is no. Small consistent efforts produce different results. A person who exercises 30 minutes daily for years often achieves more than someone who exercises intensely for a month and then stops. A person who saves a small amount every week often accumulates more wealth than someone waiting for the perfect moment to invest. Consistency transforms small actions into major outcomes. The key is repetition. The power of habitual action: when behavior becomes habitual, progress accelerates. The brain no longer debates every decision. The action becomes automatic. This reduces mental effort. Imagine brushing your teeth. You probably do not require motivation. You simply do it. The behavior has become part of your routine. The same principle can apply to exercise, reading, writing, saving, learning. The goal is not relying on willpower forever. The goal is creating habits that operate automatically. Consistency makes this possible. The compound effect of consistency: most people underestimate what consistent action can accomplish. They focus on immediate results. The problem is that consistency works through accumulation. A single action rarely changes much. Repeated actions change everything. One workout changes little. Hundreds of workouts change a body. One page changes little. Thousands of pages change a mind. One investment changes little. Years of investing can change a financial future. The magic lies in repetition. Consistency compounds. Its power increases over time. Motivation wants results. Consistency wants process. Motivation focuses on outcomes. It wants visible rewards, immediate evidence, fast progress. Consistency focuses on process. It values repetition, routine, persistence. The process-oriented person continues even when results remain invisible. They trust the system. They understand that progress often occurs beneath the surface. This perspective creates patience. Patience creates endurance. Endurance creates success. The hidden advantage. One of the greatest advantages of consistency is that it works quietly. While others search for shortcuts, the consistent person continues. While others start and stop, the consistent person continues. While others become distracted, the consistent person continues. The progress may appear slow. The results may remain invisible. But momentum builds. Eventually, the accumulated effort becomes impossible to ignore. The breakthrough arrives. Observers often call it luck. They rarely see the years of consistency behind it. Consistency and identity. Every consistent action strengthens identity. A person who exercises regularly begins seeing themselves as healthy. A person who writes regularly begins seeing themselves as a writer. A person who studies regularly begins seeing themselves as a learner. Identity influences behavior. Behavior reinforces identity. The cycle strengthens itself. Eventually, consistency stops feeling difficult. It becomes part of who you are. This transformation is powerful. Because lasting success often depends more on identity than effort. The never miss twice rule. Consistency does not require perfection. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone misses workouts. Everyone skips habits occasionally. The problem is not missing once. The problem is allowing one miss to become many. A useful principle is simple. Never miss twice. If you fail today, return tomorrow. If you miss a workout, complete the next one. If you skip reading, read the following day. Protect continuity. The goal is maintaining momentum. One mistake is an event. Repeated mistakes become a pattern. Consistency survives occasional setbacks. The long-term winner. Imagine two people. The first person works intensely whenever motivation appears. The second person works steadily regardless of mood. After 10 years, who achieves more? The answer is obvious. The steady individual accumulates advantages. Skills improve. Knowledge expands. Confidence grows. Opportunities increase. The gap widens. Not because of talent, not because of intelligence, because of consistency. Building a consistency mindset. Consistency begins with a shift in thinking. Stop asking, "Do I feel motivated?" Start asking, "What does the system require today?" This question changes everything. It removes emotion from the decision. The focus shifts from feelings to action. Action becomes the priority. The process continues. Results follow. The real secret. People often search for the secret behind extraordinary achievement. The answer is usually less exciting than expected. It is not genius. Not luck. Not perfect timing. Not endless motivation. More often than not, the secret is consistency. Showing up. Doing the work. Repeating the process. Continuing when enthusiasm fades. Continuing when results are invisible. Continuing when progress feels slow. This ability creates remarkable outcomes. Consistency wins. Motivation is valuable. It can start journeys, create excitement, generate momentum. But motivation is temporary. Consistency is permanent. Motivation begins. Consistency continues. Motivation inspires. Consistency delivers. Motivation creates possibilities. Consistency creates realities. The individuals who achieve extraordinary results understand this distinction. They appreciate motivation when it appears. But they never depend on it. Instead, they build habits, create systems, develop routines, and show up day after day. Because they know something important. The future is not determined by what you do occasionally. It is determined by what you do consistently. And consistency, more than any burst of motivation, is the force that turns small actions into extraordinary results. Chapter 3. The Mathematics of Compounding Success. Most people understand the concept of compounding in finance. Invest a small amount of money. Allow it to grow. Reinvest the gains. Wait. Over time, the growth accelerates. A modest investment can eventually become substantial. This idea is simple. Yet its implications are profound. Because compounding is not limited to money, it influences nearly every area of life. Skills compound. Knowledge compounds. Health compounds. Relationships compound. Confidence compounds. Success itself compounds. The challenge is that compounding rarely feels powerful in the beginning. At first, progress appears slow, sometimes invisible. The rewards seem too small to matter. Many people quit during this phase. They underestimate the mathematics of small improvements. They fail to recognize that tiny gains, repeated consistently, can create extraordinary outcomes. This chapter explores the hidden force behind long-term achievement, the mathematics of compounding success. Because once you understand compounding, you begin to see opportunities everywhere. The nature of linear thinking: human beings naturally think in straight lines. We expect results to increase at the same rate as effort. Work twice as hard. Get twice the results. Study twice as long. Learn twice as much. Exercise twice as often. Become twice as fit. Reality rarely works this way. Progress often follows a different pattern. It begins slowly, then accelerates. The early stages feel disappointing because visible results lag behind effort. This creates frustration. People expect immediate returns. When those returns fail to appear, motivation declines. The process stops. Unfortunately, they often quit just before compounding begins to work. The penny that doubles: imagine receiving a single penny. Each day, that penny doubles. After 1 day, you have 2 cents. After 2 days, 4 cents. After 3 days, 8 cents. The growth initially seems insignificant. Even after 10 days, the amount remains modest. Most people would lose interest. Yet something remarkable happens later. The growth accelerates. By day 20, the amount becomes meaningful. By day 30, it becomes extraordinary. The lesson is simple. Small beginnings can produce massive outcomes when growth compounds. The same principle applies to personal development. The first improvements appear insignificant. The long-term results can be life-changing. Why people quit too early: the greatest enemy of compounding is impatience. People want evidence. They want proof. They want rewards immediately. Compounding rarely works that way. Imagine planting a tree. You water it daily. Weeks pass. Growth seems minimal. Months pass. The tree remains small. A person focused only on immediate results may become discouraged. Yet beneath the surface, roots are developing. Strength is forming. Future growth is being prepared. Eventually, visible growth accelerates. The same pattern occurs in life. Many people quit before reaching the acceleration phase. They abandon the process while the roots are still growing. Knowledge compounds. One of the most powerful forms of compounding involves learning. Every book read adds information. Every lesson learned adds understanding. Every experience adds perspective. These gains accumulate. Knowledge builds upon previous knowledge. New ideas connect with old ideas. Understanding deepens. Learning becomes easier. The process accelerates. Someone who reads consistently for 10 years possesses a tremendous advantage over someone who rarely reads. Not because of intelligence. Because of accumulated learning. Knowledge compounds quietly. Its effects become obvious only after years of consistency. Skills compound. Skill development follows a similar pattern. The beginner struggles. Progress feels slow. Mistakes occur frequently. Improvement appears limited. Many people stop. Those who continue experience something different. Skills build upon themselves. Fundamentals create confidence. Confidence encourages practice. Practice creates improvement. Improvement creates momentum. Momentum accelerates growth. Eventually, what once felt difficult becomes natural. Mastery emerges through accumulation. Not sudden talent. Not extraordinary luck. Repeated practice. Repeated learning. Repeated effort. Health compounds. Most health outcomes result from compounded behaviors. A healthy body is rarely built through a single workout. A healthy body emerges from years of choices: exercise, nutrition, sleep, movement, recovery. Each decision contributes. The individual choice appears small. The accumulated impact becomes enormous. The same principle applies in reverse. Poor habits also compound. A little less exercise, a little less sleep, a little more unhealthy food. The effects accumulate gradually. Years later, the consequences become visible. Health is often a reflection of compounded decisions. Financial compounding. Financial success provides one of the clearest examples of compounding. Small amounts saved regularly can grow substantially over time. The key variable is often not the amount. It is the consistency. A person who invests modestly for decades frequently outperforms someone who delays investing while waiting for ideal conditions. Time amplifies growth. Consistency maximizes time. Together, they create powerful outcomes. Financial compounding rewards patience. It rewards discipline. It rewards long-term thinking. The same qualities support success in every area of life. Relationship compounding. Relationships also compound. Trust builds slowly. Respect develops gradually. Connection deepens over time. A single conversation rarely creates a lifelong friendship. A single act of kindness rarely creates deep trust. Repeated positive interactions create strong relationships. Every interaction matters. Every promise kept matters. Every effort to understand another person matters. These actions accumulate. The relationship grows stronger. Years later, the value becomes extraordinary. Strong relationships often represent decades of compounded trust. Confidence compounds. Many people believe confidence appears suddenly. They assume confident individuals were born that way. Reality tells a different story. Confidence usually develops through evidence. Small successes create belief. Belief encourages action. Action creates more success. The cycle strengthens itself. Confidence grows gradually. Every challenge overcome contributes. Every promise kept contributes. Every goal achieved contributes. The accumulation becomes powerful. Confident individuals often possess years of compounded evidence supporting their belief in themselves. The valley of disappointment. One reason compounding is difficult to appreciate is that results often lag behind effort. This creates what many call the valley of disappointment. The period when expectations exceed visible progress. A person exercises for a month. The scale barely changes. A person studies a language for weeks. Fluency remains distant. A person saves money for months. Wealth feels far away. The effort appears disconnected from the outcome. This perception is misleading. Progress is occurring. The results simply have not become visible yet. The valley of disappointment is where many people quit. Those who continue often discover the rewards of compounding. Tiny improvements matter. Imagine improving by only 1% each day. The daily improvement seems insignificant, almost meaningless. Yet the accumulation becomes remarkable. Small gains create larger gains. Progress builds upon progress. The mathematics become powerful. Most people ignore tiny improvements because they focus on dramatic change. The truth is that tiny improvements are often more sustainable. And sustainability creates compounding. Compounding creates transformation. Momentum changes everything. Compounding and momentum work together. Momentum makes continued action easier. Compounding increases the value of continued action. Together, they create extraordinary growth. A writer who writes daily gains momentum. The growing skill compounds. A musician who practices daily gains momentum. The growing ability compounds. A business owner who improves consistently gains momentum. The improvements compound. Progress accelerates. Results expand. The process strengthens itself. The danger of negative compounding. Compounding works both ways. Positive actions create positive growth. Negative actions create negative growth. Small bad habits often appear harmless. Skipping exercise occasionally. Ignoring learning. Overspending regularly. Neglecting relationships. Each decision seems insignificant. The accumulation becomes significant. Just as positive habits create extraordinary outcomes, negative habits create costly consequences. This reality makes daily decisions important. Small actions influence future trajectories. Thinking like a long-term investor, successful investors often focus on decades rather than days. They understand that time creates value. Personal growth benefits from the same perspective. Think long-term. Evaluate progress over years. Focus on consistency. Allow compounding to work. This mindset reduces frustration. It encourages patience. It supports persistence. The individual stops chasing immediate rewards. They begin building lasting results. The hidden multiplier. Compounding acts as a multiplier. Effort alone creates progress. Compounded effort creates extraordinary progress. The multiplier grows stronger over time. This is why the first years often appear slow. The multiplier remains small. As time passes, the multiplier increases. Growth accelerates. Results expand. The process becomes difficult to ignore. People call it success. In reality, it is often compounded consistency. The ultimate advantage. Imagine two people. One improves slightly each day. The other remains unchanged. The daily difference appears insignificant. After a week, the gap is small. After a month, still small. After a year, noticeable. After a decade, extraordinary. The advantage emerges through compounding. Not dramatic effort. Not sudden breakthroughs. Small improvements. Repeated consistently. This principle applies everywhere. Health, wealth, learning, relationships, leadership, creativity, personal growth. The mathematics remain the same. Success is a mathematical process. Many people view success as mysterious. Something unpredictable. Something reserved for a fortunate few. Compounding reveals a different reality. Success often follows predictable principles. Small actions. Repeated consistently, over long periods of time. The formula is simple. The execution requires patience. Most people know what to do. Few continue long enough to experience the full rewards. Those who do gain a remarkable advantage. Because compounding eventually turns ordinary actions into extraordinary outcomes. And when you understand the mathematics of compounding success, you stop searching for dramatic breakthroughs. Instead, you focus on small daily improvements. You trust the process. You respect the timeline, and you allow consistency to do what it does best: transform tiny actions into extraordinary results. Chapter 4. Building habits that last. Success is rarely the result of a single decision. It is usually the result of repeated behaviors. The actions you perform every day shape your future more than the goals you occasionally think about. A person does not become healthy because they exercised once. They become healthy because they exercised repeatedly. A person does not become financially secure because they saved money once. They become financially secure because they saved consistently. A person does not become knowledgeable because they read one book. They become knowledgeable because reading became a habit. Habits are the invisible architecture of everyday life. They influence how you think, how you spend your time, how you use your energy, how you respond to challenges, and ultimately, who you become. The challenge is that many people struggle to build habits that last. They start strong. They feel motivated. They make ambitious plans. Then, gradually, the habit disappears. The problem is not a lack of desire. The problem is often a lack of understanding. This chapter explores how habits are formed, why they matter, and how to build habits that remain strong long after motivation fades. Because lasting success depends less on occasional effort and more on automatic behavior. The hidden power of habits. Imagine two people. Both have similar intelligence, similar opportunities, similar resources. One develops productive habits, the other does not. At first, the difference appears small. Weeks pass. Months pass. Years pass. The gap widens. The first person reads regularly, exercises consistently, learns continuously, manages time effectively. The second person acts only when inspired. Progress becomes inconsistent. Results vary. The difference between them is not talent. It is habit. Habits quietly shape outcomes. They influence decisions without requiring conscious effort. That is why they are so powerful. Habits reduce decision fatigue. Every decision consumes mental energy. What should I eat? Should I exercise? Should I study? Should I work on my goals? Should I save money? The more decisions you make, the more energy you consume. Eventually, fatigue appears. Willpower weakens. Poor choices become more likely. Habits solve this problem. When behavior becomes habitual, decisions disappear. You no longer debate whether to exercise. You simply exercise. You no longer debate whether to read. You simply read. The habit automates the behavior. Automation conserves energy. Conserved energy improves consistency. Consistency creates results. The habit loop. Every habit follows a basic pattern. A cue. A routine. A reward. The cue triggers behavior. The routine is the action itself. The reward reinforces the behavior. Imagine a person who wakes up each morning. The alarm sounds. That is the cue. They put on running shoes and go for a walk. That is the routine. Afterward, they feel energized. That is the reward. The brain begins associating the cue with the reward. Over time, the habit strengthens. Understanding this loop provides valuable insight. Because habits are not random. They follow predictable patterns, and predictable patterns can be designed. Start smaller than you think. One of the most common mistakes people make is starting too big. They attempt dramatic transformations. Exercise 2 hours daily. Read 50 books a year. Wake up at 4 in the morning. Completely change their lifestyle overnight. The enthusiasm is admirable. The strategy is often flawed. Large changes create resistance. Resistance reduces consistency. Consistency matters more than intensity. The better approach is starting small. Extremely small. Read 1 page. Exercise for 5 minutes. Save a small amount. Write 1 paragraph. The objective is not impressive performance. The objective is establishing the habit. Small actions are easier to repeat. Repeated actions become habits. Habits create transformation. The importance of repetition. Many people believe habits form because of time. In reality, habits form because of repetition. The brain learns through practice. Every repetition strengthens neural pathways. Every repetition increases familiarity. Every repetition reduces resistance. This is why consistency matters. A person who exercises briefly every day often builds a stronger habit than someone who exercises intensely once a week. Frequency accelerates habit formation. The goal is not perfection. The goal is repetition. Repeated behavior eventually becomes automatic. Make habits obvious. Human behavior is heavily influenced by environment. What you see influences what you do. This principle can be used intentionally. Want to read more? Place books where they are visible. Want to exercise? Keep workout clothes accessible. Want to practice a skill? Keep the necessary tools nearby. Visibility increases action. Invisible habits are easy to forget. Visible habits are easier to perform. The environment becomes a reminder. The reminder supports consistency. Consistency strengthens the habit. Make habits easy. Complexity destroys consistency. The more effort required, the less likely the behavior becomes. People naturally choose convenience. This tendency can work for or against you. Successful habit builders make positive behaviors easier. Prepare in advance. Reduce obstacles. Simplify the process. If exercising requires numerous complicated steps, resistance increases. If everything is ready beforehand, action becomes easier. The easier a habit feels, the more likely it is to continue. Remove friction. Friction is anything that makes action more difficult. The greater the friction, the lower the likelihood of action. Imagine wanting to practice guitar. If the guitar is hidden in a closet beneath several boxes, practice becomes less likely. If the guitar is placed nearby and ready to use, practice becomes more likely. Small environmental adjustments create significant behavioral changes. Reduce friction for good habits. Increase friction for bad habits. This simple principle can dramatically influence consistency. Identity-based habits. Many people focus on outcomes. Lose weight. Earn more money. Write a book. Learn a language. While outcomes matter, identity often matters more. The most powerful habits emerge when they support identity. Instead of saying, "I want to write a book," say, "I am a writer." Instead of saying, "I want to get fit," say, "I am a healthy person." Identity influences behavior. People naturally act in ways that align with who they believe they are. Every habit becomes evidence. Every repetition reinforces identity. Over time, identity strengthens. Behavior becomes natural. Tracking progress. Progress creates motivation. Visible progress creates even more motivation. This is why tracking habits can be effective. A calendar, a journal, a checklist. Any system that records consistency. Tracking provides evidence. Evidence creates satisfaction. Satisfaction reinforces behavior. The objective is not perfection. The objective is maintaining awareness. What gets measured often improves. Habit tracking increases awareness. Awareness supports consistency. The danger of all or nothing thinking. Many habits fail because of perfectionism. A person misses one day. They become discouraged. The habit stops. This reaction is unnecessary. One missed day does not destroy progress. One unhealthy meal does not ruin health. One missed workout does not eliminate fitness. One mistake does not define the future. Consistency allows for imperfection. The key is returning quickly. Progress depends on repetition over time, not flawless execution. Perfection is unnecessary. Persistence is essential. Building momentum through wins. Small wins create confidence. Confidence creates motivation. Motivation supports further action. The cycle strengthens itself. This is why tiny habits are so effective. They create victories. Those victories build momentum. Momentum reduces resistance. Reduced resistance increases consistency. The habit becomes stronger. People often underestimate the power of small wins. Yet small wins frequently create large transformations. The habit stacking method. One effective strategy involves attaching a new habit to an existing one. This technique is often called habit stacking. The principle is simple. Use an established behavior as a trigger. For example, after brushing your teeth, read one page. After drinking coffee, write one paragraph. After lunch, take a short walk. The existing habit becomes the cue. The new behavior becomes easier to remember. Consistency improves. Habit formation accelerates. The brain appreciates predictable patterns. Habit stacking leverages this tendency. The plateau of habit formation. Building habits requires patience. Many people expect immediate automaticity. They want the behavior to feel natural right away. This rarely happens. The early stages often require effort. The habit may feel awkward, uncomfortable, inconvenient. This is normal. Every strong habit was once difficult. Every expert was once a beginner. The key is persistence. Continue repeating the behavior. Eventually, resistance declines. The habit strengthens. What once required effort becomes routine. Habits shape destiny. Every habit influences direction. Direction influences destination. The future often reflects present routines. Daily behaviors become long-term outcomes. The person who reads consistently develops knowledge. The person who saves consistently develops wealth. The person who exercises consistently develops health. The person who learns consistently develops expertise. The pattern is remarkably simple. Small actions, repeated consistently, over long periods of time. That is how habits shape destiny. The habit advantage. Imagine improving just one habit, then another, then another. Each habit creates a small advantage. The advantages accumulate. Performance improves. Confidence grows. Results expand. The entire system becomes stronger. This is the habit advantage. It operates quietly. It compounds continuously. And it transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary outcomes. The people who achieve the most are rarely those who depend on motivation alone. They are the people who build habits, protect habits, strengthen habits, and trust habits to carry them forward when motivation disappears. Because success is not usually determined by what you do once. It is determined by what you do repeatedly. And habits are the mechanism that makes repetition possible. They turn intention into action. Action into consistency. Consistency into achievement. And achievement into a life of extraordinary results. Chapter 5. The Identity Effect. Most people believe that lasting change begins with action. Exercise more. Read more. Save more. Work harder. Wake up earlier. While these actions are important, they are not the deepest level of transformation. True and lasting change begins with identity. The way you see yourself determines the way you behave. Your habits are not merely actions. They are expressions of identity. A person who believes they are healthy naturally makes healthier choices. A person who believes they are disciplined naturally follows through on commitments. A person who believes they are a lifelong learner naturally seeks knowledge. Identity shapes behavior. Behavior reinforces identity. The cycle repeats. This chapter explores one of the most powerful forces in personal development, the identity effect. Because extraordinary results often emerge when actions align with identity. The 3 levels of change most people focus on: outcomes. Lose weight. Earn more money. Start a business. Write a book. These are outcome-based goals. Others focus on processes. Exercise regularly. Save consistently. Write every day. Study continuously. These are process-based goals. Few people focus on identity. Become a healthy person. Become an investor. Become a writer. Become a learner. Identity represents the deepest level of change. Outcomes are what you get. Processes are what you do. Identity is who you believe you are. And identity often determines whether change lasts. Why goals often fail. Imagine 2 people trying to quit smoking. Both stop smoking. Someone offers them a cigarette. The first person says, "No thanks. I'm trying to quit." The second person says, "No thanks. I don't smoke." The difference appears small. It is significant. The first person still identifies as a smoker. The second person has adopted a new identity. Behavior becomes easier when it aligns with identity. Difficult behaviors become easier to maintain. Old behaviors become easier to reject. The strongest form of motivation occurs when behavior supports identity. Identity drives behavior. People generally act in ways that are consistent with their beliefs. A person who believes they are punctual arrives on time. A person who believes they are reliable keeps promises. A person who believes they are generous helps others. Identity acts like a compass. It guides behavior. Even when motivation fluctuates, even when circumstances become difficult. This explains why changing behavior without changing identity often fails. The old identity eventually pulls behavior back toward familiar patterns. Lasting transformation requires identity evolution. Every action is a vote. Identity is not created overnight. It is built gradually. One action at a time. Every action casts a vote. Every workout is a vote for becoming healthy. Every page read is a vote for becoming knowledgeable. Every dollar saved is a vote for becoming financially responsible. Every act of courage is a vote for becoming confident. No single action determines identity. But repeated actions create evidence. Evidence creates belief. Belief strengthens identity. The cycle becomes powerful. The person begins believing what their actions repeatedly demonstrate. The power of evidence. Many people wait to feel confident before acting. They wait to feel disciplined before building habits. They wait to feel successful before pursuing bigger goals. This approach rarely works. Confidence follows evidence. Discipline follows evidence. Success follows evidence. Action creates evidence. The individual who exercises consistently accumulates proof of commitment. The individual who writes daily accumulates proof of creativity. The individual who saves money consistently accumulates proof of responsibility. The evidence becomes undeniable. Identity changes naturally, not because of positive thinking alone, because of repeated action. The story you tell yourself. Every person carries an internal story, a narrative about who they are, what they can do, what they deserve, what they are capable of becoming. These stories influence behavior. Someone who says, "I am bad with money," will often make poor financial decisions. Someone who says, "I never finish what I start," may abandon projects prematurely. Someone who says, "I am not creative," may avoid opportunities for creative expression. The story becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Behavior aligns with belief. This is why identity matters. The story you tell yourself influences the life you create. Rewriting the narrative. The good news is that identity is not fixed. It can evolve. The narrative can change. The process begins with awareness. Identify limiting beliefs. Question them. Challenge them. Then replace them with evidence-based alternatives. Do not simply repeat affirmations. Create proof. If you want to become a writer, write. If you want to become healthy, exercise. If you want to become confident, take courageous actions. The new identity grows stronger with every repetition. The story changes because the evidence changes. Small wins create new identities. Transformation does not require dramatic action. Small wins are often enough. A single workout may not transform your body, but it provides evidence. A single page written may not create a book, but it provides evidence. A single investment may not create wealth, but it provides evidence. These small wins matter because they reinforce identity. Identity grows through accumulation, not isolated moments. Repeated evidence creates lasting belief. Protecting your identity. Once a positive identity begins to form, it must be protected. The world constantly presents challenges. Failures occur. Mistakes happen. Setbacks emerge. During these moments, people often allow a single failure to define them. They think, "I missed a workout. I'm lazy. I made a mistake. I'm incompetent. I failed. I'm a failure." This thinking is dangerous. One action does not define identity. One mistake does not erase progress. One setback does not destroy growth. Strong identities survive temporary failures. The focus remains on the overall pattern, not individual moments. Environment and identity. Environment influences identity more than many people realize. The people around you affect how you see yourself. The culture around you shapes beliefs. The expectations around you influence behavior. Imagine joining a community of readers. Reading begins to feel normal. Imagine joining a group of entrepreneurs. Business discussions become common. Imagine surrounding yourself with healthy individuals. Healthy behavior becomes expected. Identity often develops through association. People adapt to environments. Choose environments carefully, because they influence who you become. Identity and standards. Identity influences standards. A person who identifies as a professional operates differently from someone who identifies as an amateur. Professionals maintain standards. They show up consistently. They honor commitments. They focus on excellence. The same principle applies everywhere. Healthy people maintain health standards. Financially responsible people maintain financial standards. Leaders maintain leadership standards. Identity determines what behaviors feel acceptable. Raise identity. Standards rise naturally. The identity gap. Many people experience an identity gap. They desire one identity while living according to another. They want to become healthy, yet behave in unhealthy ways. They want to become wealthy, yet make poor financial decisions. They want to become productive, yet consistently procrastinate. The solution is not wishing harder. The solution is acting differently. Identity follows evidence. Evidence follows action. The gap closes when behavior changes. Becoming the type of person. A powerful question can transform behavior. What would the type of person I want to become do in this situation? A healthy person chooses differently. A confident person chooses differently. A disciplined person chooses differently. A successful entrepreneur chooses differently. This question shifts focus away from outcomes. It directs attention toward identity. Repeatedly answering this question creates alignment. Alignment strengthens identity. Identity influences future choices. The cycle becomes self-reinforcing. Identity compounds just like habits. Just like knowledge. Just like wealth. Every positive action strengthens self-belief. Stronger self-belief encourages further action. Further action creates additional evidence. The process accelerates. Years later, the transformation appears remarkable. Yet it emerged from tiny decisions repeated consistently. Identity evolved gradually. The results became extraordinary. The most powerful habit. Many people search for the perfect habit. The perfect routine. The perfect productivity strategy. The most powerful habit may actually be protecting identity. When identity changes, behavior changes. When behavior changes, results change. Everything begins to align. A person who truly believes they are healthy rarely needs constant motivation to exercise. A person who truly believes they are a writer rarely needs permission to write. A person who truly believes they are responsible rarely struggles to manage obligations. Identity simplifies behavior. Behavior reinforces identity. The cycle strengthens itself. The identity advantage. Imagine two individuals pursuing the same goal. One focuses only on outcomes. The other focuses on becoming the type of person who naturally achieves those outcomes. The second individual possesses a tremendous advantage. Because outcomes may fluctuate, identity remains. The goal may be completed. Identity continues. Results may disappear. Identity endures. This is the identity effect. The understanding that who you believe you are often determines what you become. Not because identity creates magic. Because identity shapes behavior. Behavior shapes habits. Habits shape outcomes. And outcomes shape the future. The most powerful transformations occur when people stop asking, "What do I want to achieve?" and begin asking, "Who do I want to become?" Because extraordinary results are often the natural consequence of becoming the right person. One action. One habit. One vote at a time. Chapter 6. Systems over goals. Most people are obsessed with goals. They set targets. Create vision boards. Write resolutions. Develop ambitious plans. At the beginning of every year, millions of people decide what they want to achieve. Lose weight. Start a business. Read more books. Earn more money. Learn a new skill. Goals are exciting. They provide direction. They create hope. They inspire action. Yet goals alone rarely create lasting success. In fact, many people who set ambitious goals never achieve them. Not because the goals are impossible. Not because they lack intelligence. Not because they lack desire. But because they focus too much on the destination and not enough on the process. This chapter explores a powerful truth. Goals tell you where to go. Systems determine whether you get there. The people who achieve extraordinary results are not necessarily those with the biggest goals. They are often those with the best systems. The problem with goal obsession. Imagine two runners preparing for a marathon. Both have the same goal: finish the race. One focuses entirely on the goal. They think constantly about crossing the finish line. The other focuses on a training system. They follow a schedule. Track progress. Recover properly. Improve consistently. When race day arrives, who is more likely to succeed? The answer is obvious. The goal provides direction. The system creates readiness. Without a system, goals remain wishes. With a system, goals become achievable. Goals are temporary. One overlooked problem with goals is that they are temporary. Once achieved, they disappear. The athlete wins the championship. The entrepreneur reaches the revenue target. The student graduates. The goal is complete. What happens next? Many people experience an unexpected emptiness after achieving major goals. They spent months or years pursuing a target. Once reached, motivation declines. The excitement fades. The structure disappears. Systems solve this problem. Systems continue beyond individual goals. They create ongoing progress. They support long-term growth. They provide stability regardless of outcomes. Winners and losers often have the same goals. This idea surprises many people. The winner and the loser frequently share the same goal. Every athlete wants to win. Every business wants to grow. Every student wants good grades. Every author wants readers. The goal itself does not determine success. The system does. If goals alone created results, everyone with the same goal would achieve similar outcomes. Clearly, this is not true. The difference lies in daily behavior. The process. The routine. The system. Success is usually a reflection of systems rather than aspirations. Goals focus on results. Systems focus on process. Goals are outcome-oriented. Systems are process-oriented. Goals ask, "What do I want to achieve?" Systems ask, "What do I need to do repeatedly?" This distinction matters. Results are often outside immediate control. Processes are within control. You cannot guarantee becoming wealthy by next year. You can control whether you save and invest consistently. You cannot guarantee writing a best-selling book. You can control whether you write every day. You cannot guarantee perfect health. You can control whether you exercise regularly. Systems focus attention on controllable actions. This creates stability. The daily process matters. Most people often imagine success as a dramatic event. A breakthrough. A lucky opportunity. A major achievement. Reality is usually less dramatic. Success often emerges from ordinary days. The workout completed. The page written. The skill practiced. The money saved. The conversation improved. These actions appear insignificant individually. Together, they create transformation. The daily process matters more than occasional intensity. What you do consistently shapes your future. Systems reduce dependence on motivation. Motivation is unreliable. Some days you feel inspired. Other days you do not. If action depends on motivation, progress becomes inconsistent. Systems create a different experience. The behavior occurs because it is scheduled, expected, integrated into life. A person with a reading system reads regardless of mood. A person with a fitness system exercises regardless of inspiration. A person with a writing system writes regardless of creativity. The system removes emotional negotiation. Action becomes automatic. The airport analogy: imagine boarding an airplane. The destination matters. Without a destination, the flight serves no purpose. But the destination alone does not move the plane. Navigation systems do. Fuel systems. Communication systems. Maintenance systems. Operational systems. The destination provides direction. The systems create movement. Life works similarly. Goals provide a target. Systems create progress. Most people spend too much time choosing destinations and too little time designing navigation. Systems create consistency. Consistency is one of the greatest predictors of long-term success. The challenge is maintaining consistency. Systems make this easier. A good system reduces decision-making, reduces friction, reduces uncertainty. The process becomes repeatable. Repeatability creates consistency. Consistency creates compounding. Compounding creates extraordinary results. The chain begins with systems. Small systems, big results. Many people assume systems must be complex. The opposite is often true. The most effective systems are frequently simple. A daily reading habit. A weekly financial review. A consistent bedtime. A regular exercise schedule. A morning planning routine. Simple systems are easier to maintain. Maintenance creates consistency. Consistency creates results. Complexity often creates failure. Simplicity often creates success. Building a personal operating system. Think of your life as a company. Every successful company relies on systems, processes, procedures, structures, guidelines. These systems create predictable outcomes. Your life benefits from the same approach. Develop systems for health, learning, productivity, relationships, finances, personal growth. Each system supports a specific area. Together, they create a personal operating system. The stronger the system, the stronger the results. Systems prevent decision fatigue. Every decision requires energy. The more decisions you make, the more fatigue accumulates. Eventually, judgment weakens. Willpower declines. Productivity suffers. Systems eliminate unnecessary decisions. You do not decide whether to exercise. The schedule decides. You do not decide whether to save money. The automated transfer decides. You do not decide whether to read. The routine decides. This conserves mental energy. Energy can then be directed toward important challenges. Systems survive bad days. One of the greatest advantages of systems is resilience. Goals often disappear during difficult periods. Systems can continue. A bad day does not destroy a system. A stressful week does not destroy a system. A temporary setback does not destroy a system. Strong systems provide structure during chaos. They create stability during uncertainty. They support progress when motivation is absent. This resilience is invaluable. Because life is unpredictable, systems help maintain direction despite changing circumstances. Measuring system quality. Many people evaluate success solely through outcomes. Did I reach the goal? Did I achieve the target? Did I win? A more useful question is, did I follow the system? Outcomes are influenced by many variables. Systems are more controllable. If the system is strong, positive outcomes become more likely. If the outcome is disappointing, improve the system. This perspective creates continuous improvement. Instead of blaming yourself, analyze the process. Better processes create better results. Systems create freedom. Some people believe systems restrict freedom. They imagine routines as limitations. The reality is often the opposite. Systems create freedom. Financial systems create financial freedom. Health systems create physical freedom. Productivity systems create time freedom. Learning systems create intellectual freedom. Structure supports possibility. The more effective your systems become, the more freedom you often experience. This is one of the great paradoxes of success. Discipline creates freedom. Systems make discipline sustainable. The long-term advantage, the power of systems becomes obvious over time. Initially, the results appear small. A few pages read. A few workouts completed. A few dollars saved. The changes seem insignificant. Months later, progress becomes noticeable. Years later, the difference becomes extraordinary. Systems compound. The effects accumulate. The advantages multiply. This is why patient individuals often outperform talented individuals. They allow systems to work. They trust the process. They remain consistent. Goals set direction. Systems create transformation. Goals are valuable. They provide focus. They inspire effort. They clarify intention. But goals alone are not enough. Without systems, goals remain dreams. Systems transform dreams into reality. They create daily action. Daily action creates consistency. Consistency creates momentum. Momentum creates extraordinary results. The future is not determined by the goals you set. It is largely determined by the systems you follow. That is why the most successful people spend less time obsessing over goals and more time improving systems. Because they understand a powerful truth. Goals tell you what you want. Systems determine what you get. And when small actions are supported by strong systems, extraordinary results become inevitable. Chapter 7. Winning the daily battle. Success is often misunderstood. People imagine it as a grand achievement. A championship trophy. A best-selling book. A thriving business. Financial freedom. Public recognition. These accomplishments are visible. They attract attention. They inspire admiration. But they are not where success is won. Success is won much earlier. In ordinary moments. In private decisions. In daily actions. Long before the world notices the result. The reality is simple. Life is not won in years. It is won in days. The future is built through daily choices. Every morning presents an opportunity. Every decision influences direction. Every action contributes to a larger pattern. This chapter explores one of the most important principles of atomic consistency. Extraordinary results emerge from winning the daily battle. Because greatness is rarely created by a single breakthrough. It is created by thousands of small victories. The importance of today. People often think about the future. What they want. Where they hope to be. Who they want to become. These thoughts are valuable, but the future is shaped by today's actions. Not tomorrow's intentions. Not next month's plans. Not next year's resolutions. Today matters. The workout completed today matters. The book opened today matters. The money saved today matters. The skill practiced today matters. Every meaningful future is built from present actions. The person who learns to master today gains control over tomorrow. The daily battle never ends. One of the biggest misconceptions about success is the belief that eventually everything becomes easy. That one day discipline disappears. Resistance vanishes. Effort becomes unnecessary. Reality is different. Every day presents choices. Comfort or growth. Entertainment or learning. Spending or saving. Excuses or action. The daily battle continues. Even highly successful people face resistance. The difference is not the absence of struggle. The difference is how they respond. They understand that success requires daily engagement, not occasional enthusiasm. Consistent participation. Small choices create big outcomes. A single choice rarely changes a life. A single decision seems insignificant. Yet repeated choices create patterns. Patterns create habits. Habits create lifestyles. Lifestyles create outcomes. This is why daily decisions matter. One healthy meal changes little. Years of healthy eating change everything. One page read changes little. Years of reading transform a mind. One investment changes little. Years of investing transform financial security. The future emerges from accumulated choices, not isolated moments. The myth of the perfect day. Many people wait for ideal conditions. The perfect schedule. The perfect mood. The perfect opportunity. Unfortunately, perfect days rarely arrive. Life remains unpredictable. Challenges appear. Schedules change. Unexpected responsibilities emerge. If progress depends on perfection, progress becomes rare. Successful people adopt a different mindset. They focus on consistency, not perfection. They understand that imperfect action is often better than perfect intention. The objective is not having perfect days. The objective is making progress despite imperfect days. Winning before the day begins. Many victories occur before the day officially starts. Preparation matters. Planning matters. Structure matters. A person who prepares the night before often gains a significant advantage. Workout clothes are ready. Important tasks are identified. Distractions are minimized. Decisions are reduced. Preparation lowers resistance. Lower resistance increases action. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates progress. The daily battle becomes easier when preparation occurs in advance. The power of morning momentum. The first actions of the day often influence everything that follows. Positive actions create momentum. Momentum affects mindset. Mindset influences decisions. A productive morning often leads to a productive day. This does not mean every morning must be perfect. It means early victories matter. Making the bed. Reading a few pages. Taking a walk. Reviewing priorities. These actions create movement. Movement creates energy. Energy supports further action. The cycle strengthens itself. Managing energy, not just time. Many people focus exclusively on time management. Time is important. Energy is equally important. A person may have available time but insufficient energy. Productivity suffers. Performance declines. Winning the daily battle requires energy management, sleep, nutrition, movement, recovery, stress management. These factors influence performance. The person who protects energy gains a significant advantage, because energy determines the quality of effort. The role of focus. Modern life contains endless distractions, notifications, social media, entertainment, interruptions, information overload. Attention has become one of the most valuable resources in the world. Winning the daily battle requires protecting focus. Focus directs effort. Effort creates progress. Without focus, energy becomes scattered. Progress slows. The solution is intentional attention. Choose priorities. Protect time. Reduce distractions. Concentrate effort. Focused action creates powerful results. Progress over perfection. Perfectionism is one of the most common enemies of consistency. People want flawless performance. They want perfect execution, perfect results. When perfection becomes the standard, action often stops. Fear replaces progress. The daily battle becomes overwhelming. A better standard exists. Progress. Progress accepts imperfection. Progress values movement. Progress prioritizes consistency. A page written imperfectly is better than a blank page. A short workout is better than no workout. A small investment is better than no investment. Progress creates momentum. Perfection often creates paralysis. The strength of showing up. Many people underestimate the value of attendance. Showing up matters. Showing up repeatedly matters even more. The writer improves by writing. The athlete improves by training. The student improves by studying. The entrepreneur improves by working. Improvement requires participation. You cannot improve a skill you never practice. You cannot achieve a goal you never pursue. Success often belongs to those who simply continue showing up. Day after day. Month after month. Year after year. Winning during difficult days. Easy days require little effort. Difficult days reveal character. The days when motivation disappears. The days when energy feels low. The days when progress feels invisible. These moments matter. Anyone can act when conditions are favorable. Growth often occurs when conditions are unfavorable. The objective is not extraordinary performance. The objective is maintaining the habit. Continue moving. Continue showing up. Continue participating. Even small actions preserve momentum. Momentum protects consistency. Consistency creates results. The never miss twice principle. Mistakes are inevitable. Everyone experiences setbacks. Everyone misses routines occasionally. The key is recovery. One missed day is an event. 2 missed days can become a trend. The goal is simple. Never miss twice. If you skip a workout today, exercise tomorrow. If you miss reading tonight, read tomorrow. If you make a mistake, return quickly. Protect continuity. Continuity creates momentum. Momentum supports success. The daily scorecard. Imagine evaluating every day using a simple question. Did I move forward? Not. Was the day perfect? Not. Did everything go according to plan? Simply. Did I move forward? A page written. A workout completed. A lesson learned. A task finished. A relationship strengthened. Forward movement matters. Small progress compounds. The individual days may seem insignificant. The accumulated effect becomes extraordinary. Ordinary days create extraordinary lives. Most of life consists of ordinary days. Not dramatic events. Not major milestones. Ordinary moments. Ordinary choices. Ordinary actions. The way you handle ordinary days determines extraordinary outcomes. This truth is easy to overlook. People search for breakthroughs. Yet breakthroughs often emerge from accumulated ordinary effort. The ordinary day contains enormous power. Because repeated ordinary actions create extraordinary lives. Momentum is built daily. Momentum does not appear suddenly. It is created gradually. One action at a time. One habit at a time. One decision at a time. Daily victories create momentum. Momentum reduces resistance. Reduced resistance increases consistency. Consistency accelerates growth. The process strengthens itself. Winning today's battle makes tomorrow's battle easier. That advantage compounds. The long-term champion. Imagine two individuals. One waits for inspiration. The other acts consistently. One depends on motivation. The other depends on process. One acts occasionally. The other acts daily. After a decade, who achieves more? The answer is obvious. The daily competitor gains advantages. Those advantages accumulate. Skills improve. Knowledge expands. Confidence grows. Opportunities multiply. Success follows. Not because of dramatic effort. Because of daily effort. Victory is found in today. Many people spend their lives preparing to begin. Waiting for better circumstances. Waiting for more confidence. Waiting for more time. The future they desire remains distant. The truth is simple. The future is created today. Not someday. Today. The page you read. The workout you complete. The habit you practice. The promise you keep. The decision you make. These actions matter. They shape identity. They create momentum. They build the future. Success is not a single event waiting somewhere ahead. It is a process unfolding every day. And those who learn to win the daily battle eventually discover something remarkable. Extraordinary results are nothing more than ordinary victories repeated consistently over time. One day. One action. One choice at a time. Chapter 8. Eliminating friction and resistance. Most people assume that success depends on working harder, pushing more, trying more, forcing themselves to do difficult things. There is some truth in this idea. Effort matters. Persistence matters. Commitment matters. But there is another factor that often determines success long before effort becomes necessary. That factor is friction. Friction is anything that makes action more difficult. It is the invisible force that slows progress. It creates delays, encourages procrastination, reduces consistency, and quietly prevents people from achieving their goals. Many individuals fail not because they lack ability. They fail because their environment makes success unnecessarily difficult. The good news is that friction can be reduced. Systems can be designed. Environments can be optimized. Resistance can be minimized. This chapter explores how small adjustments can dramatically increase consistency and make positive behavior almost automatic. Because success is not always about increasing effort. Often, it is about removing obstacles. Understanding friction. Imagine two scenarios. In the first, your workout clothes are neatly prepared the night before. Your shoes are ready. Your water bottle is filled. Everything is waiting. In the second scenario, your clothes are scattered. Your shoes are difficult to find. Nothing is prepared. Which situation makes exercise more likely? The answer is obvious. The first scenario contains less friction. The behavior becomes easier. Small obstacles influence behavior more than most people realize. Even tiny inconveniences can reduce action. Likewise, tiny conveniences can increase action. Human beings naturally move toward what is easy. Understanding this principle is powerful, because it allows behavior to be designed. The path of least resistance. Water always follows the path of least resistance. Human behavior often works the same way. People naturally choose options requiring less effort. This tendency is not weakness. It is efficiency. The brain constantly seeks ways to conserve energy. The challenge is that this tendency can work for or against you. If productive actions are difficult, they become less likely. If distractions are easy, they become more likely. The solution is simple. Make good habits easier. Make bad habits harder. Small changes create significant results. Why willpower is overrated. Many people depend on willpower. They believe success comes from constantly resisting temptation. While willpower can be useful, it has limits. Mental energy fluctuates. Stress affects decision-making. Fatigue reduces self-control. Even highly disciplined individuals experience moments of weakness. Systems provide a better solution. Instead of constantly fighting temptation, reduce exposure to temptation. Instead of relying on self-control, improve the environment. The strongest system often beats the strongest willpower. Because systems operate even when motivation disappears. Designing an environment for success. Environment influences behavior continuously. Whether you realize it or not. Everything around you sends signals. Some signals encourage productive behavior. Others encourage distraction. Imagine a person trying to read more books. If books are hidden away, reading becomes less likely. If books are visible and accessible, reading becomes more likely. The environment acts as a cue. Behavior follows. This principle applies everywhere. Healthy food visible. Exercise equipment accessible. Learning materials nearby. Distractions removed. Environment shapes action. Action shapes outcomes. Make good habits obvious. The brain responds to visual cues. What you see influences what you do. This is why visibility matters. Want to drink more water? Keep a water bottle nearby. Want to read more? Place books where you can see them. Want to practice an instrument? Keep it accessible. Want to write daily? Keep your workspace ready. Visibility increases awareness. Awareness increases action. Action strengthens habits. Simple environmental changes often produce remarkable results. Reduce activation energy. Every action requires a certain amount of energy to begin. This initial effort is called activation energy. The higher the activation energy, the less likely the behavior becomes. Imagine wanting to exercise. If exercising requires driving across town, finding equipment, and organizing a complicated schedule, activation energy becomes high. If exercising simply requires stepping outside for a walk, activation energy becomes low. Lower activation energy increases action. Successful people often reduce the effort required to start. Starting matters more than intensity. Because once action begins, continuation becomes easier. The 2-minute rule. One effective strategy for reducing resistance is the 2-minute rule. The principle is simple. When building a new habit, scale it down to a version that takes 2 minutes or less. Instead of reading a chapter, read 1 page. Instead of running 5 miles, put on running shoes. Instead of writing an article, write 1 sentence. The goal is not completing the task. The goal is establishing the behavior. Starting creates momentum. Momentum increases continuation. Most people fail because they focus on completion. Successful habit builders focus on initiation. Increasing friction for bad habits. The same principles work in reverse. If you want to reduce a negative behavior, increase friction. Make the behavior less convenient, less accessible, less automatic. Imagine someone trying to reduce social media use. Keeping distracting apps on the home screen encourages frequent use. Removing those apps creates friction. The extra effort reduces behavior. Small barriers matter. Human behavior responds strongly to convenience. The more difficult something becomes, the less frequently it occurs. The hidden cost of clutter. Physical clutter often creates mental clutter. A disorganized environment can increase stress, reduce focus, create unnecessary distractions. The brain processes more information than most people realize. Every object competes for attention. A clean environment simplifies decision-making, improves clarity, reduces friction. The objective is not perfection. The objective is creating an environment that supports desired behavior. Order often supports action. Automation eliminates resistance. One of the most powerful ways to reduce friction is automation. Automated systems require less decision-making, less effort, less willpower. Consider financial success. People who automate savings often save more consistently. Why? Because the decision occurs once. The system handles the rest. The same principle applies elsewhere. Automated reminders, scheduled routines, recurring processes. Automation removes opportunities for procrastination. Consistency improves. Results follow. Creating default behaviors. Defaults are powerful. People often accept whatever happens automatically. This principle can be used intentionally. Design defaults that support your goals. Prepare healthy meals. Schedule workouts. Create learning routines. Establish productive work environments. When positive behavior becomes the default option, consistency increases dramatically. The easier the choice, the more likely the action. The resistance trap. Many people unknowingly create resistance. They make habits too complicated, set unrealistic expectations, create unnecessary steps, then wonder why consistency disappears. The solution is simplification. Ask yourself, how can this be easier? How can this require less effort? How can I remove obstacles? These questions often reveal powerful improvements. Small reductions in resistance produce major increases in action. Momentum loves simplicity. Complex systems often fail. Simple systems survive. Complex plans require constant attention. Simple plans become repeatable. Repeatability creates consistency. Consistency creates momentum. Momentum accelerates growth. This is why simplicity matters. The most effective systems are often the easiest to follow. Not because they are perfect, because they are sustainable. The environment advantage. Imagine two people with identical goals. One operates within an environment designed for success. The other operates within an environment filled with distractions. Who is more likely to succeed? The answer is obvious. Environment influences behavior continuously. The advantage compounds over time. A supportive environment reduces friction daily. The accumulated impact becomes substantial. This is why environment design matters. It quietly shapes outcomes. Success should feel easier. Many people believe success must always feel difficult. That struggle is required. That progress demands constant suffering. While effort remains important, unnecessary difficulty is not a virtue. If a habit can be simplified, simplify it. If an obstacle can be removed, remove it. If a process can be improved, improve it. The objective is not making success harder. The objective is making success more likely. Smart systems reduce resistance. Reduced resistance increases consistency. Consistency creates results. The friction formula. Every habit exists on a spectrum. The easier it is, the more likely it occurs. The harder it is, the less likely it occurs. This creates a powerful formula. Reduce friction for desired behaviors. Increase friction for undesired behaviors. Apply this principle consistently. The results can be transformative. Because behavior often changes when environments change. The path forward. Success is not always about becoming stronger. Sometimes it is about becoming smarter. Not forcing yourself endlessly, but designing systems intelligently, removing obstacles, simplifying actions, creating supportive environments, reducing resistance. When friction decreases, consistency increases. When consistency increases, progress accelerates. And when progress accelerates, extraordinary results become possible. The people who achieve the most are not always the ones who work the hardest. Often, they are the ones who make success easier to repeat. Because every obstacle removed becomes another opportunity for action. And every action repeated consistently moves you closer to the life you want to create. Chapter 9. The momentum advantage. Imagine pushing a large boulder up a hill. At first, every movement feels difficult. The boulder barely moves. Each push requires effort. Progress seems painfully slow. But eventually, something changes. The boulder begins to move. The movement becomes smoother. The effort required decreases. Momentum begins to help. The same principle applies to success. The beginning is often the hardest part. Starting a new habit, building a business, learning a skill, improving health, saving money, writing a book. The early stages require significant effort. Results appear minimal. Progress feels slow. Many people quit during this phase. Not because success is impossible, but because momentum has not yet arrived. Those who continue long enough experience something different. The process becomes easier. Consistency becomes natural. Progress accelerates. This is the power of momentum. And understanding it can transform the way you approach growth, achievement, and long-term success. What is momentum? Momentum is the force created by repeated action. It is the tendency for movement to create more movement. Success creates confidence. Confidence creates action. Action creates results. Results create additional confidence. The cycle strengthens itself. Momentum is powerful because it reduces resistance. Activities that once felt difficult begin to feel normal. The brain adapts. The routine becomes familiar. Consistency becomes easier. This creates an enormous advantage. Because maintaining progress often requires less energy than starting progress. Why starting is so difficult? Every new habit begins with uncertainty. The behavior feels unfamiliar. The outcome feels distant. The rewards feel invisible. The brain naturally resists uncertainty. It prefers familiar routines, even when those routines are unproductive. This is why people struggle to begin. The challenge is not capability. The challenge is overcoming initial resistance. Momentum solves this problem. But momentum only appears after action begins. This creates a paradox. You must act before momentum exists. The reward for action is momentum itself. The first push matters most. Imagine a train sitting still on railroad tracks. Moving the train initially requires tremendous energy. Once the train gains speed, maintaining movement becomes easier. Human behavior works similarly. The first workout is difficult. The 20th workout feels normal. The first page is difficult. The 100th page feels natural. The first investment feels uncertain. The 100th investment feels routine. The beginning requires effort. Momentum eventually reduces that effort. This is why starting matters so much. The first push creates the possibility of movement. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence is often misunderstood. People believe confidence appears before action. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel certain. They wait to feel capable. Confidence rarely works this way. Confidence is usually the result of action. A person exercises consistently. Confidence grows. A person develops a skill. Confidence grows. A person completes difficult tasks. Confidence grows. Every success creates evidence. Evidence strengthens belief. Belief encourages further action. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence strengthens momentum. Together, they create powerful growth. Small wins create momentum. Many people underestimate the value of small victories. They focus only on major achievements. Large goals. Big milestones. Dramatic results. Yet momentum often begins with tiny wins. A single workout. A single page read. A single dollar saved. A single task completed. These actions appear insignificant, but they create movement. Movement matters. Because action creates energy. Energy supports additional action. Small wins are often the spark that ignites larger success. The snowball effect. Imagine rolling a small snowball down a snowy hill. Initially, it is tiny. Almost insignificant. As it rolls, snow accumulates. The snowball grows larger. Its movement becomes stronger. Its growth accelerates. Momentum works the same way. Small actions accumulate. Progress increases. Confidence expands. Results improve. The process accelerates. What begins as a tiny effort can eventually produce remarkable outcomes, provided the movement continues. Why consistency creates momentum? Momentum does not emerge from occasional effort. It emerges from repeated effort. A person who exercises once a month rarely develops momentum. A person who exercises consistently does. Consistency creates familiarity. Familiarity reduces resistance. Reduced resistance encourages action. Action strengthens consistency. The cycle repeats. Momentum is essentially consistency in motion. The more consistent the behavior, the stronger the momentum becomes. The danger of stopping momentum is valuable. It is also fragile. Extended inactivity can weaken momentum. The habit becomes less automatic. The routine feels less familiar. Resistance begins to return. This is why maintaining continuity matters. Even small actions can preserve momentum. A short workout, a single page, a brief practice session. The objective is not always maximum performance. The objective is protecting movement. Movement keeps momentum alive. Action creates motivation. Many people believe motivation creates action. Sometimes it does. But action also creates motivation. This distinction is important. Waiting for motivation can create delay. Taking action often creates motivation naturally. A person begins exercising. Energy increases. Motivation follows. A person begins writing. Ideas appear. Motivation follows. A person begins working. Focus develops. Motivation follows. Action often precedes inspiration. Momentum grows from movement, not waiting. Momentum changes identity. One of the most powerful effects of momentum is identity transformation. Repeated success changes self-perception. The individual begins seeing themselves differently. A person who reads regularly becomes a reader. A person who exercises regularly becomes healthy. A person who writes consistently becomes a writer. Momentum creates evidence. Evidence shapes identity. Identity influences future behavior. The cycle becomes self-reinforcing. This is one reason momentum can be life-changing. It transforms not only results but self-belief. The compound nature of momentum. Momentum compounds just like habits. Just like knowledge. Just like wealth. The benefits accumulate. A productive day often leads to another productive day. A successful week encourages another successful week. Progress creates further progress. The acceleration becomes noticeable. The person begins achieving more with less resistance. What once required effort now feels natural. This is compounded momentum at work. Recovering momentum after setbacks. Everyone experiences setbacks. Everyone loses momentum occasionally. Life becomes busy. Unexpected challenges emerge. Routines are interrupted. The key is recovery. Many people allow temporary setbacks to become permanent. They miss a habit. Then miss another. Then stop entirely. Successful individuals recover quickly. They return to action. Return to the process. Return to movement. Momentum can be rebuilt. The sooner action resumes, the easier recovery becomes. Protecting positive momentum. Once momentum develops, it should be protected. Treat it as a valuable asset. Because it is. Momentum reduces effort, improves consistency, accelerates growth. Protecting momentum involves maintaining routines, avoiding unnecessary interruptions, returning quickly after setbacks, remaining focused on the process. The stronger the momentum, the easier continued progress becomes. Momentum in every area of life. Momentum applies everywhere. Health momentum, financial momentum, learning momentum, career momentum, relationship momentum, personal development momentum. The principle remains the same. Small actions, repeated consistently, create movement. Movement creates momentum. Momentum accelerates growth. This universal principle explains many extraordinary achievements. Behind remarkable success, momentum is often quietly working. The long-term advantage. Imagine two individuals. One starts repeatedly but quits often. The other builds momentum and protects it. The difference appears small initially. Over time, it becomes enormous. The second individual accumulates advantages. Knowledge increases. Skills improve. Confidence expands. Results multiply. Momentum creates a widening gap. Not because of talent. Not because of luck. Because movement continues. The flywheel effect. Businesses often use the concept of a flywheel. A heavy wheel requires effort to start. Each push adds energy. Eventually, the wheel spins with considerable force. At that point, continued movement becomes easier. Personal growth follows the same pattern. The first efforts feel difficult. Progress feels slow. The rewards seem distant. Then momentum appears. The flywheel begins turning. Growth accelerates. Results expand. The process becomes easier to sustain. Extraordinary results through momentum. People often admire extraordinary achievements. They see the result, not the process. They see the success, not the momentum behind it. What appears remarkable is often the product of repeated action, consistent effort, protected momentum, years of accumulation. Momentum transforms ordinary behavior into extraordinary outcomes. Not overnight, not instantly, but inevitably, for those who continue moving. Keep the boulder moving. The greatest mistake is stopping, not failing, not struggling, not progressing slowly, stopping. As long as movement continues, momentum can grow. As long as action continues, progress remains possible. As long as consistency continues, extraordinary results remain within reach. The objective is not perfection. The objective is movement. Push the boulder. Take the step. Read the page. Write the sentence. Complete the workout. Save the dollar. Keep moving. Because momentum rewards those who continue. And over time, the force of momentum can carry you farther than motivation ever could. One action. One day. One push at a time. Chapter 10. Extraordinary results through atomic consistency. Every meaningful achievement begins with a simple decision. A decision to act. A decision to continue. A decision to return after setbacks. A decision to trust the process even when results remain invisible. Throughout this book, we have explored a principle that is both simple and profound. Small actions, repeated consistently, create extraordinary results. This principle appears almost too simple. Many people search for complicated solutions, secret strategies, perfect systems, instant breakthroughs. Yet the foundation of lasting success remains remarkably straightforward. Consistency. Not intensity, not talent, not luck. Consistency. The people who achieve extraordinary outcomes are often not the most gifted. They are the people who continue. The people who show up. The people who trust small actions enough to repeat them long after excitement disappears. This final chapter brings together everything you have learned. Because atomic consistency is not merely a productivity strategy. It is a philosophy for building a remarkable life. The truth about extraordinary results: when people see exceptional success, they often focus on the outcome. The successful entrepreneur, the elite athlete, the accomplished author, the respected leader, the financially independent investor, the visible achievement attracts attention. What remains hidden is the process. Years of preparation, thousands of repetitions, countless ordinary days. The extraordinary result becomes visible only after an extraordinary amount of consistent action. This creates a misleading perception. Success appears sudden. The reality is gradual. Most extraordinary results are accumulated long before they are recognized. Greatness is built daily. Many people imagine greatness as a destination, a future event, a specific achievement, a final outcome. In reality, greatness is often a daily practice, a way of living, a commitment to improvement. The athlete becomes great through daily training. The writer becomes great through daily writing. The entrepreneur becomes great through daily problem solving. The student becomes great through daily learning. The future reflects present habits. What you repeatedly do eventually becomes who you are. This is why daily actions matter so much. They are not merely activities. They are building blocks. The compounding nature of success. One of the most powerful lessons in this book is the role of compounding. Small actions rarely produce dramatic immediate results. This causes many people to underestimate them. A single workout changes little. A single chapter changes little. A single investment changes little. A single positive choice changes little. The power emerges through accumulation. Repeated action creates compounded growth. Growth accelerates. Momentum develops. Results expand. The process becomes increasingly powerful. Compounding transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. The identity transformation. Perhaps the most significant result of atomic consistency is identity change. Most people focus on external results. Weight lost, money earned, goals achieved. These outcomes matter, but identity matters more. Every repeated action strengthens a particular identity. The reader becomes a learner. The exerciser becomes healthy. The saver becomes financially responsible. The creator becomes an artist. The entrepreneur becomes a builder. The transformation occurs gradually. Action creates evidence. Evidence creates belief. Belief creates identity. Identity influences future behavior. The cycle strengthens itself. Why most people quit. Understanding why people quit is important. Because the reasons are often predictable. Results take time. Progress feels slow. Rewards remain invisible. Motivation fades. Doubt appears. The individual begins questioning the process. Many people quit during the most important phase. The phase when growth remains invisible. The phase when momentum is still developing. The phase when compounding has not yet become obvious. This is why patience matters. Success frequently belongs to those who continue longer than others. Trusting the process. Atomic consistency requires trust, not blind faith. Trust based on principles. Trust based on repetition. Trust based on evidence. The process may appear slow. The progress may seem insignificant. The rewards may feel distant. Yet every action contributes. Every repetition matters. Every habit strengthens. The process works because small actions accumulate. The challenge is continuing long enough to experience the results. The power of systems. Throughout this book, one idea has appeared repeatedly. Systems matter more than goals. Goals provide direction. Systems create movement. Goals define destinations. Systems determine whether you arrive. The most successful individuals focus heavily on systems. They design environments, build habits, create routines, reduce friction, protect momentum. These systems make success more likely. Not because success becomes guaranteed. Because consistency becomes easier. Winning the ordinary moments. Life is rarely transformed during dramatic moments. Transformation usually occurs during ordinary moments. The choice to read instead of scroll. The choice to save instead of spend. The choice to exercise instead of postpone. The choice to continue instead of quit. These moments seem small. They are not. Each choice influences direction. Each decision contributes to a larger pattern. The future emerges from ordinary moments repeated consistently. This is why daily behavior matters. The extraordinary life is built through ordinary actions. Progress over perfection. One of the greatest obstacles to consistency is perfectionism. People want flawless performance. Perfect habits. Perfect routines. Perfect execution. Perfection is unnecessary. Progress is essential. Missed days will occur. Mistakes will happen. Setbacks are inevitable. The objective is not perfection. The objective is returning. Returning to the habit. Returning to the process. Returning to the system. Consistency survives imperfection. What matters is the overall pattern, not isolated mistakes. The long-term perspective. Atomic consistency is a long-term strategy. Its greatest rewards often appear after months and years. This perspective changes behavior. The focus shifts from immediate gratification to long-term growth. From dramatic effort to sustainable effort. From temporary motivation to lasting systems. The individual begins playing a different game. A longer game. A more rewarding game. The rewards may arrive slowly, but they often arrive permanently. Becoming unstoppable. People often ask how to become unstoppable. The answer is simpler than many expect. Become consistent. Not perfect. Not extraordinary every day. Consistent. The consistent person continues when others stop. Learns when others quit. Improves when others stagnate. Persists when others become discouraged. Over time, this creates a tremendous advantage. The gap widens. Opportunities increase. Results multiply. The individual appears unstoppable, yet the foundation remains simple. Consistency. The legacy of small actions every day contains opportunities. Small opportunities. Tiny decisions. Simple actions. Most appear insignificant. The accumulated impact becomes extraordinary. A life is built this way. One action at a time. One habit at a time. One decision at a time. The future is not created by a single breakthrough. It is created by repeated behavior. Your habits become your lifestyle. Your lifestyle becomes your future. This is the legacy of small actions. The Atomic Consistency Formula. The entire philosophy of this book can be summarized in a simple formula: small actions. Consistent repetition, sufficient time equals extraordinary results. The formula is not complicated. The challenge is commitment. The challenge is patience. The challenge is continuing when progress feels slow. Yet those who follow the formula gain a remarkable advantage. Because life rewards consistency. Compounding rewards consistency. Momentum rewards consistency. Identity rewards consistency. Success rewards consistency. Your next step. At this moment, you do not need dramatic change. You do not need perfect motivation. You do not need extraordinary talent. You need one small action. One habit. One decision. One step forward. Read one page. Write one paragraph. Save $1. Take one walk. Learn one lesson. Complete one task. Then repeat. Tomorrow. Repeat again. And again. And again. The power does not exist in a single action. The power exists in repetition. Final thoughts. Atomic Consistency teaches a powerful truth. Extraordinary lives are built through ordinary actions. The future is not determined by what you do occasionally. It is determined by what you do consistently. Small actions matter. Habits matter. Systems matter. Momentum matters. Identity matters. Every chapter of this book points toward the same conclusion. You do not need to transform your entire life today. You simply need to take the next step. Then take it again tomorrow. And the day after that. Because greatness is not an event. It is a process. Success is not a breakthrough. It is a build-up. And extraordinary results are not created by extraordinary actions. They are created by ordinary actions repeated with extraordinary